There's a bit of a view. I've shown you guys that view before. I don't think this time of year. Sun's going down. Well, might be a little dark. I don't know. I've got bright blue sky that way. Well, sort of brightish. And I got cloud this way, but the sun's setting this way. And you're supposed to have the source of light in your face, right? I don't think I can win for the exposure. And I don't have time to figure out the exposure on that camera right now, but whatever. Excuse me. What is it? It's, I don't even know what day it is. What day is it? It's Monday, November 10th. Tomorrow's Remembrance Day. Typically, a lot of big bucks get whacked on Remembrance Day all across North America. A lot of people take the day off and go hunting on Remembrance Day. A lot. But anyway, a lot of you hunters are probably wondering why I'm not sitting somewhere for last light. It's because I'm still on the search. I got lots of camera traps set, ready to go for, what do I got? 1, 2, 3 different bucks, potential bucks that I might want. One monster, but he's just not showing. So, it got really, really warm today. Typically everything just lays down, does nothing on a day like this. So I went on tour and I found a pocket of probably the most deer sign I've ever seen in this one particular area. Took a bit of grinding to get there, but bingo. And it's probably about 3 miles away from where my monster buck normally is, so there's a chance he's there. Excuse me. People are probably wondering what this is. It's a fart tube. Wait till deer like farts. I'm just kidding. It's a grunt tube. It's a buck sound. When you get in the earshot, especially if you're timber hunting too, and you grunt away in that thing, sometimes they'll come running. Or at least they'll think you're a deer if you're making noise and you're moving along. It's worked for me pretty good in the past. Lots of other people. So, another day of talking to myself all day long. Let's see what we got. We got a lot. Oh, Kelly Down, the man, and Patty had a brand new baby human boy today. They built a human, had a baby boy today. So congratulations to them. How cool is that? They're pretty excited. He's really stoked. Messaged me that today. No name. I don't know what name or how big. I don't know nothing. That's all I know. So what do we got? We've got some stuff out of the pan, fresh out of the frying pan here. Good honest people in the world wanting to be heard and share their, let me get comfy here, and share their knowledge with all of you. This is titled, Forest People Encounter in South Louisiana and possibly in Mississippi. Wow. Coincidence, had quite the encounter the day before yesterday from South Louisiana. Hi Steve, my name is blank blank. I'd prefer if you would only use my first name and last initial due to my surname not being a popular one here, and I don't want my sharing to affect my family. All good, my man. I'll leave it all out. I got you. First off, thanks so much for your platform and approach to this topic. For all us outdoor folks that had this crazy shit happen and didn't ask for it. It's too easy. I've been following your YouTube channel since the early days of you discussing these beings. And if I remember correctly, I came across your channel through Scott Carpenter's channel. I've been back and forth over that time about writing in about my experience, and I finally said F it. I grew up in southern Louisiana. I've been hunting small game, waterfowl, and deer with my dad and his buddies since I was 4 or 5 years old. I earned my Eagle Scout as a teenager and competed in wildlife identification, hunting ethics, and shooting competitions sponsored by the NRA while I was in junior high and high school. I attended college and majored in biology and have worked in wetland ecology for the last 16 years. I, like you, spend a lot of my working life in the real world, driving airboats deep into the Atchafalaya Basin, collecting water quality data, and assessing overall health of wetland plants. I'm very well versed in the acknowledged wildlife that lives in my area. And I figured I'd provide that little background before sharing my experiences. Right on, man. Appreciate it. This will be a pretty long one. I live in a large coastal parish that sits on the eastern border of the I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Atchafalaya Basin, which is the largest continuous swampy wetland in North America. My first and only encounter seeing one of these beings within 15 yards occurred around 1992 when I was 12 years old. My grandmother and aunt lived in a suburban neighborhood that was bordered by sugarcane fields and woods that eventually turned into Atchafalaya Basin, Since I was old enough to go off on my own, I'd often explore the woods behind the neighborhood and dip net in the back drainage canal to see whatever critters and little fish were in the water there. One such morning, I was dip netting in the drainage canal next to an abandoned house with an adjacent sugarcane field. It was early fall due to the sugarcane being at least 12 feet tall, just before harvest time. And I was standing at the edge of the canal when I started feeling vibration in the ground, similar to when someone is driving a fence post. And then realized there were loud footfalls coming through the cane field from something huge, running very fast. I stood up and watched, expecting a couple deer to come breaking out of the sugarcane onto the headland before the drainage canal due to the amount of noise. To my surprise, this 7 to 8 foot dude, covered in blackish hair, bursts from the sugarcane and immediately notices me and has a look come over its face of complete shock to see me there. Or at least I feel that it was shocked because initially its eyes were dark colored to the edges of its eyelids, then opened wider upon seeing me to where I could notice the whites around them. Oh, that's interesting. Take note of that, you guys. That's interesting. I also noticed in his right hand, it was holding several stalks of sugarcane. It never veered from its path or slowed its speed and hopped across a 15 to 20 foot drainage canal like you or I would hop over a sidewalk. And as it landed on the other bank, it slid down the clay embankment slightly and let out this scream similar to the Ohio sounds that had both a higher pitch range and a low bass sound at the same time, almost as if it had two sets of vocal cords. Its other foot must have had a better grip on the ground because it launched itself up the embankment and screamed a second time as it ran off into the swamp. This encounter only took several seconds, but it was the first time I've ever experienced time feeling compressed. It felt like an eternity as I watched this thing I'd never heard of before come crashing through my reality. Excuse me. I never felt threatened or in harm's way at any point, and was left from that moment until now as to why it looked shocked or scared that it was seen by a little kid. After I looked around trying to find any tracks from it in the cane field to show my aunt, I'd all but given up due to the ground being so dry from a drought. I had remembered where it slipped on the far side canal bank and went looking there, and only found the scrape mark from it sliding. I then went to my grandmother's and told my aunt what happened and brought her to see the marks. And to this day, she's the only family member who didn't ridicule me over the situation. My old man and uncle were the worst and tried to tell me I saw a deer jump the canal. There was no doubt in my mind. I looked face to face with another race of human, and he was effing huge. It wasn't long after this I found information about the Patterson-Gimlin film and started down the path of learning as much as I could about them. This encounter never deterred me from exploring the outdoors or hunting and fishing, but it sure as hell left me with a different sort of idea about situational awareness in the outdoors. And that was my only encounter in that area. This encounter really caused me to have an open mind from an early age, along with, for some reason, leaving me with an even deeper sense of feeling like a rebel. Haha. I also think the experience is what shifted me from being an alpha-type personality to a sigma-type personality, in that I don't have any real issues with going for it alone and greatly enjoy outdoor time to myself. Years later, around 2010, I started hunting with a friend in Mississippi on his family's 100-acre property, and more so the surrounding national forest land while staying in his family's camp. In the first few years, I hadn't noticed anything strange other than once swearing I heard a donkey calling down a thick gully bordering his neighbor. Ended up texting my buddy about it, and I said, I think his neighbor had a donkey get loose onto his place. And he just laughed and said his neighbor didn't have any livestock. Several years went by without nothing occurring until approximately 2017 or so when we started having feral hogs move into the area. Cancer. My buddy and I both invested in night vision rifle scopes and mounted them on semi-auto 5.56 rifles and started hammering hogs as much as possible since they're such a pest and damage everything we've been doing to improve the habitat for whitetail. Yeah, aren't they amazing? It's amazing what they do. Such a sad thing. We typically didn't save all the hogs we killed in the summer if they ran into the briar thickets full of timber rattlesnakes. And after one night hunt, I loaded up roughly 200-pound sow and dropped her in the grass-covered gully between a wood line and a forest highway so that my son and I could try to use it for baiting coyotes. I wonder if he had any luck, because, we tried that and the coyotes didn't want to touch him down there. Just the buzzers. Later that night around 2 a.m., I went out alone with my night vision to see if any coyotes had found it, and it was gone. Been there, with a sheep, not a hog. Figuring something dragged it into the woods, I went back to the camp and decided to go look after daylight. The next morning, I walked down to the gully where I'd dropped the hog with the ATV and couldn't find any drag marks from a group of coyotes or a black bear pulling it into the woods. And this got my interest a bit more, so I started walking out in a spiral from the location looking for any sign of drag marks or tracks of something, and eventually found the sow about 80 yards away uphill, just inside the tree line, sort of tucked under a beech tree. I could not find any signs of it being dragged uphill to this location. And once I got looking at it, it was when it got weird to me. The first thing I noticed was 7 fetal piglets sat side by side, lined up against the back of the sow, with the umbilical cord still connected and stretched into the sow's carcass. The belly area where you usually cut open a deer or hog to field dress it looked like it had been torn open like a bag of potato chips from the pubic bone to the sternum. There was no sign of claw or bite marks around the opening. The other entrails were below the sow, with some of the intestines still connected, and I couldn't find the heart or liver in the pile. I also noticed that one of the rear legs had the hide torn away from around the hams, and a large bite was taken out, and resembled a bite taken from an apple, only a lot larger than what I would leave. Holy shit. 2 weeks later, I'd returned to the camp and couldn't find any sign of the sow other than the hock bone from the rear leg. Within the months of the incident with the sow, I'd lost a really old AA mag light off my belt while scouting for hog trails through thick overgrown gully between an old railroad bed and a parallel ridge. Searched around from where I had heard it fall and hit rocks without any luck. The next morning I went out to collect trail camera cards, and my mag light was standing on a flat rock in the middle of the trail on top of the old railroad bed on the opposite side of the property from where I'd lost it the evening before. Now, I'm not someone who goes out looking for these beings, and I'm not sure if either of these occurrences in Mississippi are of their doing. But I sure as shit know all the other wildlife in that area, and none of those seem capable. I've often felt like I was in the presence of someone in the woods, and it was almost always outside of the deer hunting season, and have experienced the sounds of bipedal walking paralleling me in the national forest when I'd hike and explore there, but never felt threatened or an urgency to leave an area. I hate hearing how these experiences have negatively affected other people and killed their desire to engage in the outdoor activities. I'm grateful it didn't do the same thing to me. I'm grateful to find a place where there are others trying to understand the reality of these people. It's such a crazy thing, and almost a curse to try and understand from the age of 12 onwards, and leaving no stone unturned. I've tried to find information on hairy wild people from any source I could find, and often wondered if these Sabi people were the satyrs mentioned by the Greeks, of the children of Cain or Esau mentioned in the Old Testament, as both were noted as being marked/covered in hair. Or if they are simply relic hominids like Homo erectus or Homo neanderthal. I very much believe that there is more to them than simply being some animal or a subhuman primate. I also, like you, believe they don't live here full time. I've noticed it mentioned by others who have written in about those of us that have seen them as being tagged or somehow marked by them. I often think back on the experiences I had in Mississippi and wonder if somehow I was tagged by the thing I saw when I was 12. And could that be why I never felt threatened while roaming around the woods in Mississippi? Ever since my first encounter, I've made it a point to treat every wild place I tread like it's someone else's home, in the hope that if I respect the land and things that reside there, I won't bring any negative energy my way. Well, there's my experiences, and a few thoughts I still ponder about these people. Sorry for my babbling. I hope my sharing can help others in the same way that hearing the previously shared stories have helped me in piecing this phenomenon together. I hope everyone in the club is well and has a blessed holiday season. Steve, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I will, my man. I'm going to mark this down as take note. I like having a good lineup of friends from here in the South, in case I need one along my travels, if anything. Or being able just to come and say hi. But anyways, that's quite the story. Holy shit. What an odd thing to do with the hog. What an odd thing to do with the hog. I mean, who knows if we can speculate till the cows come home, right, on what was going on with that scenario. Doesn't sound like they don't have too much respect for hogs, same as we don't, right? Wild hogs. Crazy. What a crazy display for you to come across and find. Obviously, it didn't mean for you to find the hog, I don't believe. Otherwise, it probably would have done it right there. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like somebody took the hog and sat down and played with it for a little bit or something, right? Don't you think? Took a bite out of it. Chomp. No, not bad. Holy shit. It is a wild ride, though, isn't it? I'll call you Jay. It's a wild ride when you get this reality stuffed in your face. Where were you? 12? 14. What was I? 17. I was 17 years old. Maybe 18. 17, 18-ish. And then off you go to the races, right? Of trying to learn more and realizing we're not gonna be taught the truth about shit, right? Got to find out for yourself. I'm glad you're here. Glad you found us. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. What's this? Marked as red. It was so windy today. Got warm, right? It's so windy. It was insane. I was nervous about getting hit by a tree. Hi, my name is Jade. I live on the gateway to the Ozarks in the United States, the state of Missouri, or Missouri. Hello, everyone here. I'm going to get right on with it. I have extensive knowledge because I am currently studying a group of these beings, Sasquatch beings. I can describe in detail what more than one group in multiple geographical areas about 13 minutes by vehicle highway, miles apart, another 1 hour. And I'll start with the faces. The hairline stops in the same area human men beards stop on every individual, even the females and the children. The color of the hair. Example, the individual has jet black hair will have a lighter shade of black skin. Fact. Individual has cinnamon colored hair will have a lighter shade of cinnamon colored skin. Individual has buckskin colored hair will have a lighter shade of buckskin colored skin. Fact. This, I go by what I have seen with my own eyes. I don't know why, yet, but the eyes of some are way different. Example. Most have white eyes and pupils similar to humans, but a few have slid black eyes. Okay, you either meant slit black eyes or you meant solid. I'm guessing solid. You typed it S-L-I-D. So it's one or the other. Probably solid. Black eyes. No visible pupils, just black. These are the ones that give me the fear for my life factor. When this happens, not all Sasquatch beings cause this fear factor. Just the ones with the solid black eyes. That's a clue, Steve, and all who are awake listening. I have a theory. Not everyone will keep an open mind, but I have seen the tops of trees lopped off at smooth angles. I've heard the sound of something like a motor of some kind in the clouds. Not like a jet or a plane. It flew over the top of me coming out of this area where I know a group of these beings live. This has happened more than one time. I don't want to come up missing, and at this time, I don't have a gun. The only weapon I have is my knives and a hatchet, which if it came down to a fight against one of these enormous beings, I doubt it would help me much. Steve, someone has to risk it. What if they're not good? All it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. I live to explore, and I love the woods and forests, mountains and rivers, gorges, lakes of our planet, and nothing will stop me from learning the truth. We all need each other. We can't figure out what is happening in the darkness, not alone, but together we can do anything. I have more I can discuss. Talk about rabbit hole. I've not always walked the right path, but I've always stood up against evil. Keep me in your prayers. I already added you all to mine. Stand strong, Steve. I'm wanting to talk with you. You have my email address. Well, that's interesting. You're definitely not the first one to email in and share that you have extensive first-hand experience with these people. Better mark this as look into, right? Look into. Yeah, because obviously myself and basically all the tens of thousands of people here are going to have about 5 million questions for you, right? Maybe 6 million questions? All right, we'll see what comes with this. We'll see what comes. Excuse me. Interesting. Very interesting. Hold on a sec, sorry. Okay, here we go. I'll get a hold of you for sure. Obviously, I'm in the middle of a hunt, so it's not going to happen until I'm out of here. But I've got you marked down as look into. Okay, how long have I been here? I don't think too long, have I? I'm so hungry right now. Oh my God, I'm hungry. More experiences from the UK and Canada. All right. Hi there, Steve and How to Hunt family. Thanks for sharing my experiences from the UK last week. Excuse me. As I said, I have 2 more to share, so here it goes. It was around 1985. I was 15 years old. Myself and 2 friends arranged to go night fishing for carp in a small lake we have near us in the forest. The same forest where I'd had my previous things happen a few years prior. And it was the first time we had night fished it, as our parents now thought we were old enough and sensible enough. There were lots of stories around that it is haunted, and it wasn't a place to go at night. I thought it was just to scare stories. I thought it was just scare stories to stop us kids playing around the water, etc. We got there an hour before dark to set up. Myself and one mate, one side of the lake, and our slightly older friend opposite of us, about 50 yards away from the other side. The lake is only small, about 2 acres, set in a valley, surrounded by thick forest. Around 11 p.m., we could hear heavy footsteps crunching through the leaves and small fallen sticks up behind our friend, opposite. We all got a bit jittery, but first put it down to maybe a deer. It stopped for a few minutes. Then again, the crunching of the sticks and the rustling of the leaves seemed to be getting closer. Our mate, the other side, was getting very nervous. We all tried shining our torches to where the noise was, but being the 80s, our small torches put out feeble light, so not much could be seen. No LED bulbs in them days. Then we heard the scream/roar, the same one we'd heard a few years before. Just seemed to go on, and so loud. Next we could hear water splashing and our friend hollering in fright. He was wading through... Sounds like somebody got a deer over there. Kaboom. That sure makes you catch your attention, doesn't it? All peaceful, then a gunshot. Where was I? Next, we could hear water splashing and our friend hollering in fright. He was wading through 3 feet of water and mud to get us to the other side. When he reached us, he was in a state of fright, crying, wet and muddy. He got into the back of my tent and said, I'm not moving. He said the fear of what was coming behind him was overwhelming. Didn't see anything, but felt it near to him. We got a large fire going. We thought whatever it was would be scared off from the glow. But throughout the night we heard footsteps and heavy breathing sounds to the back of our tents. We didn't sleep at all. We're all pooping ourselves. Our friend was in the worst state, shaking, eyes like saucers. I told him what happened a few years previously and how the fear and the dread I had was overpowering. I could tell he had the same feeling. First light arrived, we packed our kit up in record time and made our way out of there. Never again did we night fish it. I walk down around the lake most weeks now and have never felt anything out of the ordinary. I still see my friend every now and then, and he always brings it up. He still has flashbacks of that night. The Forest of Dean has lots of mine shafts and caves. From coal mining early 1900s, dating back to Roman times. Do these beings live/hide in these, or are they interdimensional? In England, we have stories of the Green Man. Are they Sabe? Don't know. Steve, I have another encounter if you have time to read it. When I was 6 years old, 1976, my parents took me on holiday to Canada to visit an Aunt Ruby who had moved from England many years ago. She lived on a farm near Ontario. I really can't remember much of it as being so young and long ago, but the story my parents used to tell me was I wanted to go to the lake with all the frogs in, which is on my aunt's land. So, my Uncle Bill said he'd take me while the rest of the family got on with the hay baling. A while later, I was supposedly running across the field on my own without my uncle. Got to my father, grabbed him, and wouldn't let go, saying the big, hairy frog man was smiling at me in the trees. They all laughed. And when my Uncle Bill got back, they all said to him, "You shouldn't have scared me like that." He wasn't impressed, saying that he hadn't. I'd run on in front to the edge of the lake, and within seconds I was running back past him, screaming and crying that the hairy man with big eyes and mouth was in the trees. Holy shit. He told the family he didn't see a thing, but felt very nervous on the way back. My auntie told Kelly, a 20-something-year-old Indian native she had adopted, a great guy, to get the shotgun and take my father, a Second World War Royal Navy veteran who could handle himself, my hero, down to the lake to see off this tramp. Dad always said until he passed in 2017 that Kelly told him to be prepared to see something that you that you might not believe. Typo, sorry. They got there, but it had gone. But Dad and Kelly was on edge and didn't want to talk about it when they got back to the farm. Didn't want to talk about it. Go figure. I was never allowed to go back to the frog pond. I can't remember it myself, but the story would get brought up at family gatherings. I wish Dad were here today so I could question him more about it. Auntie Ruby moved across the country to Vancouver Island, to Victoria in her later years, where my parents visited her again in the 1990s. And she mentioned the hairy frogman / tramp episode then and asked if I could remember anything of it. Hope this wasn't too much of a book to read, Steve. All the best to you, Sarah and Ruby Dog. Please don't use my name. Regards. Okay, I won't. Gotcha, man. And there you go. Lifelong club member. I'll guarantee you Auntie knew all about them. Guaranteed. No more kapows. I guess that hunter must have found his mark. I know there's one camp in the woods about a mile from me. That's it. I haven't bumped into anybody. So I'm guessing that's them. Good for them. Good for them. The hairy frogman. Big eyes and big mouth. Pattern in the description. That's a pattern. What do I got? Man, I'm so hungry. Oh, this is a book. Holy cow. All right, too late in the episode to start that one right now. What's this one? All right, this one's not long. Mark it as read. Here we go. Glowing ball of light on chest. Title this email. To all of you through me. Hey Steve, there's no real good way to preface this, but I'm putting it out there. I've on more than one occasion had a warm gold orb that raised up from my stomach and hovered over my heart. It happened maybe 3 times, and the first and second time I didn't tell anyone. The last time, I showed my 2 friends I was with. One asked, "What's that?" And it shot up off my chest into the sky. They saw it. I told them I didn't know. And it was cool. We didn't talk about it again. And it hasn't happened again either. What the hell? Holy shizzle. That's the first time I've heard something like that. I wrote in from other emails, but here's a story I've yet to write. Best I can tell it is. I had a rough day at school and there was some kind of quarrel where I was feeling misunderstood. Later on, I'm home in my room and I was crying and I heard a voice that I figured was God. It talked to me and I explained the predicament. It made me realize the correct way to handle the situation and myself. I'm not sure how the red triangle came into play. I just can't remember, nor how I knew it was connected with this thing, but it was. I probably felt like I had God with me in my backpack, if not my pocket. So the time comes that I was so confident in facing. It goes terribly. I'm devastated and I run home. Side note, on this red triangle toy, there are rows of pieces that jut out so you can connect them and build. But I get home and I'm upset, real upset. I feel like I was betrayed. I grabbed a steak knife and started cutting into the triangle between the rows, and it was hard going and I may have cut myself. I ran to the back porch and threw it as far as I could. This happened around the 5th grade. Fast forward 19 years, COVID has everyone home. I get into meditating and sit in a particular spot outside around the same time each morning and throughout the day. And one morning I go to meditate, and there's that red toy triangle with the cut that I hadn't seen since that day I threw it away. End of email. That's an odd one. Boom, just like that. Story over. Huh. I don't even know what to say to that. That's pretty weird. We got no shortage of weird coming in though, right? Weird experiences. But the ball of light coming out of your gut and going over your chest and then going, and guys saw it. That's crazy and shit. Anybody else had that happen, I wonder? go ahead and send it to us. If you had something like that happen or you witnessed something like that, I want to hear about it. I'm sure everybody else would like to too. You know, the only thing I've seen firsthand, it's a friend of mine, his dad was passing away. I've shared this story before, I'll share it again. Ontario, in the hospital. Their elderly father is dying. He's in his late 80s, I think, maybe even 90. 2 sisters and my buddy in the hospice, the room in hospice. And he's passing away. And they said they all of a sudden, they all smelled pipe tobacco. Their dad's brother, who had previously passed away, smoked pipe all the time. And then the sister looks up in the corner of the room and says, "Look at that." And they looked up, and there was 3 different colored balls of light in the upper corner of the room. And my buddy got a photo of it with his iPhone and showed me. What's up with that? What's up with that? I mean, I understand that. It's not overly surprising to hear that coming from somebody passing on. But a living human being? Wow. Something else, isn't it? And then we've had multiple people share reports of these large, hairy, upright beings cruising along with a ball of light or multiple balls of light in front of them, chest height, moving with them. Had somebody else wrote in not too long ago, one of these beings ripping up the logging cut, going into the timber, and these balls of light were either behind him or in front of him, one or the other. What's up with that? Got broad daylight sightings of balls of light moving along right waist height over a trail in front of deer hunters. Balls of light coming up to people in their hunting stands. Balls of light coming into houses. Right? Balls of light in my house. Wow. Anyway. I'm going to get going. I am frickin' starving. I want to get to bed early. I've got a plan for tomorrow morning. I'm going to have to get up an hour earlier. So I have to make my way up the side of this mountain in the dark for probably going to give myself an hour to do it. I got to get up the mountain in the dark. Like 100%, I got to go in the dark. I can't do it when it's light out because I need to get up the side of this mountain, over the top of a ridge, and then down a little bit and get perched right above where I found a pile of deer signs. So I want to be up there well before it gets light out and nestled into place and do it as swiftly but quietly as I can. Hopefully not get screamed at, right? Hopefully not get screamed at in the process or followed. But anyway, there you go, you guys. Actually, no, there's one more thing I want to share with you guys. Sarah sent me a screenshot from a page that she follows from our small town. Some of you might find this interesting. Some of you, hopefully none of you, are loose cannon enough to be offended by me reading this. Listen to this. Unrelated to the previous topics. The no more emails shared if my voice makes you angry. Listen to this one. This was posted today in my community at home. So I got a question. Should a Muslim boy 8 years old be allowed to run around the neighborhood calling the little girls of the neighborhood bitches, or assault my son and other boys in the neighborhood, or go around telling the kids, "It will not end until you come to Allah"? These are direct quotes from the boy. Oh, and he steals the neighborhood kids' toys as well. Sorry, punctuation. These are direct quotes from the boy. Oh, and he steals the neighborhood kids' toys as well. Does this sound like the family's making efforts to assimilate to the Canadian culture? Well, there you go. There's some stellar parenting, huh? Isn't that some stellar parenting? Coming to a town near you. No, I'm not saying anything bad about Muslims. But I'll tell you what, if you're one of the extremist Muslims who openly chants online nonstop, it's very common. You're going to cover every square inch of the earth and we're going to make us all assimilate. Well, you're going to be in for a real violent fight in the end, and you're going to lose. That's all I got to say on that one. But it's just some stellar parenting, though, isn't it? What an absolute future pillar of the community being raised. Good for them. Huh? Good for them. What's going on? What's going on? What else? The poppy thing the other day, I thought it was just the province of Nova Scotia that banned poppies. Banned them in the... Where do they ban them? They ban them all over. I don't give a shit where they ban them. The fact is they banned them, and as well as the province of Nova Scotia. The province of Nova Scotia banned the poppies. There's a weird sound. Huh. There's such a war. There's a war going on in Christianity. There's a war going on Western culture. There's a war going on humanity. I think a lot of very, very bad players have made it into political positions. I mean, especially in Canada. How do you manage to even suggest banning the poppies from being worn for Remembrance Day? How do you even manage to suggest that, let alone suggest it and get away with it and get support to ban it? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't feel like I'm an extremist in any way, but with anything. But I'll tell you what, if there's ever a sign that the good people need to fight, holy shit, isn't that one? What? The poppies of Flanders Fields. Thousands and thousands of lives were taken for a global war, and all those poppies do is a symbol to never forget. And a lot of old senior veterans wear those poppies and sell poppies to wear for donations to go towards veterans. That's it. They banned them. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really curious about who... I'm going to find out. I'm going to trace this one back to the source. I'm going to find out who would want that banned and how they managed to ban that. Like, holy shit. Right? That's I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to that. I can tell you right now, these mountains are absolutely beautiful. This view is absolutely stunning, and the smell of the real world right now is amazing. I'll have that flood in my head as I'm getting other darker thoughts recalling this poppy banning shit. I'm going to find out who's behind this. I'm going to find out who suggested it, who's the original person who suggested it, how did they manipulate people to agree to ban it, and I'm going to find out who they are too, and I'm going to find out everything I can about this, and I'm going to share it with you guys later on. That's what I'm going to do. Somebody's got to. Well, I'm sure somebody's already up to, but I need to know for me. I need to know for me. There's some weird, crazy, insane, potentially scary shit going on. That's all there is to it. And I'm not. I hope I don't. Do I come across as a negative person? I don't think I'm a negative person. I mean, typically, especially at home, where it's just comedy hour. It's comedy hour nonstop at home. And especially my friends. My friends are all clowns. They should be professional comedians. And I try to concentrate on all this. I hope I'm not coming across as negative, but it seems a lot of these topics are just slipping through the cracks, and it's not slipping through the cracks, they're just stacking up, they're everywhere, and it's getting out of hand. And I've never been one to look the other way and stay quiet, you know, when it's important. So I just hope that I'm not negative Nancy, is what I'm saying. I'm a concerned human being. All right, here we go. What a beautiful place. Hope everybody's doing really, really well. And share my story at howtohunt.com. That's where you can get all your knowledge shared, all right? Your experiences shared, word for word, while I still can. Talk to you guys later.